Artie Joy, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy a wonderful night. Dream time at the G.
So we're just about ready to get underway. Wolsey, you two going for the Bombers tonight?
Going for the Bombers, Hutto. They have been in reasonably good form this year. Thought they were fantastic last week against Brisbane. And they've got their big guns firing up forward in Lucas Lloyd and Hurd. And, of course, Fletcher and Mal Michael in the back line have been pretty solid.
Christy Bolthouse.
Thank you, Stephen. Well, talk about atmosphere. We certainly have it here tonight. The Tiger fans may be suffering, but this game always draws a big crowd, and tonight is no exception. You can probably hear them in the background now. Very lively, and because of that fantastic pre-game entertainment, they are very excited as well. And the Tiger faithful, look, I don't think they've lost any faith just yet. I think they've all turned out here tonight. There's lots of them, and they are very noisy, and they are looking for a big game tonight. Now, as far as conditions are concerned, there was a game here just a short while ago, which the Tiwi Island Bombers won. It hasn't really affected the ground at all, although the surface is very slippery, and being a very still night, no breeze at all whatsoever, I don't think the slippery surface is going to improve. So just something that they have to contend with. Other than that, Stephen, though, perfect.
I think Richmond have to be able to play as much contested football as they possibly can. The Bombers have struggled against the one-on-one contests, in particular Collingwood recently.
Kane. So the umpire calling across the captains for the toss to the call-in. There's fireworks outside the G. Are we going to see some fireworks inside the G? There's Joe Hockey, the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations, tossing the coin tonight. The AFL delighted that the Australian government has supported tonight's event and continues to work in partnership with AFL Sports Ready for Indigenous employment. And the Bombers have won the toss and are kicking right of screen.
So almost ready for a start. Amazing effort by Matthew Richardson to come up for this game. Let's hope he gets through unscathed. There's some fireworks over at Olympic Park as Melbourne still must have scored a try. But this is the biggest and best game in the land, Hutto. Don't worry about that.
Well, are you going to stay with us for the whole game tonight, Chris?
As long as there's at least 10 goals kicked by half-time.
There's rumours circulating early, quarters, that if there's a repeat of last week's episode, you're walking.
There's Richo going down towards the goal square. Ken Kingsley alongside him. That's his first game for Richmond, the former Geelong player and North Melbourne player. And young Jack Rewald playing his first game for Richmond as well. And
so it gives him a little bit of a different look, doesn't it?
Welcome to the big time, Jack. And Paddy Ryder, he's played half a dozen, maybe a dozen games, and he says, I'll tell you what it's all about.
So great atmosphere here at the MCG. Gets the big job on Lloyd. We're ready to roll at the G. Fletcher and Richardson go head-to-head. Dreamtime game number 3. The Tigers have won the first 2. Who will prevail tonight as we start the game? Hill goes up in the ruck, tucks in there. Over the top of him is Winderlick. Must have been one hell of a try. Fireworks game for 5 minutes.
They're really celebrating rugby league.
So secondary bounce in the middle. Hill the tap. Ball spills free. Pouncing is Stanton. It's a wobbly old kick inside 50. In front, doing well is Polo. So the Tigers out of early trouble as the mark's taken by Tivendale. Receivers from Newman. And now the mark's taken by Pettifer. A little short one.
Good play by Pettifer. He did that just to bring Ken Kingsley into the game.
There he is, the former Cat and the former Roo. A long ball. In front and taking a very, very good overhead mark is Brett Deledio. And he's been a man who's been up and down this year, Rob. He needs a bit of confidence.
Well, he's been played as a half-back flanker, midfielder. He started this game up forward, but he's just got a terrific lead there. Leaps early, and McVeigh can't go with him. Saw McVeigh play as a forward last week, but Terry Wallace is going to give Deledio plenty of work in the midfield for the remainder of the year.
4 goals so far this season. He starts it right, it's coming back. It's shaved the woodwork.
For a start, they've decided the Richmond to go with a bit more potency forward. Kingsley, Deledio, Richardson.
Fletcher had no one to go to, so he had to go back for Michael. Not good ball for Watson. There's Peverill. Who's he going to be trying to turn on tonight? This is the run and the dash they need. Revving it up is Winderlick. Not good ball into James Hurd and co. And the Tigers, Patterson, a big lumbering ruckman back there using Kane Johnson, and then Delidio. We've seen him at both ends already. Shuffling it out, Foley. He's had plenty of the ball this year. Bowden for the wing. And there's Revolt coming through. Good to see him out there. We'll get a good look at him tonight. He's kicked plenty of goals in the VFL. Fletcher and Richo gone at it a few times over the years, haven't they? Fletcher, ambitious kick. It should get to Cole okay. Well, it got to him all right, but it didn't make it easy for him. Kingsley surrounded by Bombers, and that's a high contact. Mel Michael will take the front.
Strong play by Mel Michael, not so good by Richard Cole, who should have smothered that bounce.
Davey, a long bomb. Roy gets the front posse. Got a push. So Matthew Lloyd well within range. Will line up. Here's the nudge. He is 6 on the goal kicking table so far.
Gee, not much. Hand was on the back, that was all, but they'll pay that now.
6 games this season. He's got 21 goals aided, a conversion rate of 72%. Just a point.
I think we've already seen the intent of the Tigers' defence. They're prepared to get back in numbers to help out Will Thursfield. Get back, help them out.
You suspect he's going to need their help. He's only been back for 1 game. Newman, cross half-back, Polak, the intended target, and that's achieved all right.
Polak's been settled at centre-half back the last month and played some pretty good football.
Might have to do some backup ruck work again, as he's had to do Wolsey through the season so far.
Yes,
it's a pity, isn't it, for him?
Already an interchange, and Richard Cole coming off, and Basher Hooley coming on.
So Hill and Patterson. Plenty of desperation. It comes to Patterson, who had his best game last week. Winderlich, did he get some high contact? No, gets another ball up.
Thanks, sir.
So there's 21 possessions last week for Big Patterson, and the Tigers, Terry Wallace desperately needs a ruckman with the injury to Simmons, and there he is, farming it down with purpose for Tivendale. Howard away, another one of the young Tigers doing pretty well. Kingsley, third in line, Richardson in front, can't find a way through. Fletcher and McPhee.
I thought Fletcher had hold of Richo's leg.
So did I.
Let's have a look at it. Does Fletcher grab Richo's leg?
Oh, not really. Good call from the up. Essendon win the clearance. And Stanton has plenty of room to move. Shorts it. This is Hawley. McPhee back to Hawley. Smack bang in the middle of the MCG. Pops it over the top to Ryder, who gives it to the run of Stanton, who's come from the back pocket. Now an awkward left foot kick into the hot zone. But taking a very strong mark is Graham Polak. Quickly dishes off to Bowden. He switches over to Tambling,
who is away. They need some goals out of Tambling. He's only kicked, I think he's gone 4 of the last 5 games without goals. Tivendale into a pretty open forward line. Richo was coming. Maybe better not to compete, because Delidio had a chance. Slattery, real solid type of defender. You see his hard work over the ball. Patterson getting involved again. Foley, not a great kick. Hang a long time in the air, but in the end, Howard was able to get it. Pettifer is working back to the goal square. Richo another option. And even shorter he goes for Kingsley.
And that's Kingsley's go, Hutto.
Yep.
Kent Kingsley on the lead. You won't see him take too many overhead marks, but you will see him lead quickly. He's gone to short.
Well, it's okay. He's got it to Tambling, safe enough. Not sure if it would have been great for Kent Kingsley had just gone back and slotted the goal. He always showed that propensity for Geelong, didn't he, to try and lay the ball off at all costs.
And there we see him on the lead. And his opponent is Mel Michael. If he continues to lead on Mel Michael, he will worry Michael, because Michael always plays from behind.
And he's done pretty reasonable on him in the past too, Wolsey.
7 goals, 3 for the year for Richard Tambling. And on a night to try and celebrate Indigenous footy, unfortunately Tambling not able to kick the first goal of the night.
A long bomb from Fletcher's a beauty.
Well, the two Richmond misses, that one by Tamling and the one before by Delidio, they just should be goals.
Lucas kick finds Hooley.
I think there's an early intent in the game. Polak is just prepared to let Lucas run up the ground. He's more prepared just to take him and wait for him to come forward.
So Hooley not sure what to do. Oh, the handball's dodgy to say the least. Well done by Foley. Great win for the Tigers here. Foley gets it out to Kingsley. Timmendale's one down. Good handball over to Cracker. He stands up the tackle. Was allowed to spend some time getting rid of the handball. Oh, Kingsley's handball is intercepted by Davey. The Bombers are away. McVeigh chips to Hurd.
Great interception by Davey in the centre square. James Hurd has started this game at full forward. He's been right back in the goal square. His opponent is Joel Bowden. Couple of reasons for that. The main one being keep Joel Bowden out of the action. He's the most attacking defender.
No, it's a shocker from Hurd. Into the pocket. Fisted away by Thursfield. Here's Davey. Can he weave some magic from an impossible angle? Kicks across the face. And we'll have a throw in.
Gee, it's infiltrated league footy at the moment. Poor kicking a goal.
And there's James Hurd setting up inside the forward 50. Bowden his opponent, and two stars of the game there.
Hurd had 25 possessions last week. Hill couldn't miss from there.
Gee, that was clever. He knows he's got the advantage in the ruck, but it was just too easy in the end, Rob, wasn't it?
It was. And he did it well, didn't he, the big fella? Caught the football. As soon as he hit the ground, he spun around. And that Vossi is going to be a worry for the Tigers because their two main ruckmen, Simmons and Noble, just aren't there.
Yeah.
Clever work from David Hill.
Used to be one of my pet hates when the ruckman took it out and just kicked an easy goal like that. I used to hate that.
Saw the opportunity and did it beautifully. Peveril's at the bottom of all that.
Line, you both got it.
Kingsley's had 5 touches early. Yeah, the Cats give him away. Hutto, he's burning.
It's early days, Stephen.
Jack Rewalt leading the field.
Crowd's up to 60,000 already, and we've had a few problems. Apparently there's been a trail derailment, so that's probably caused a few hiccups outside as Essendon work it forward, and Matthew Lloyd has taken the mark directly in front. Let's have a look at the ruck work here. Just strength from Hill. The back door to Watson, and he used the ball well and found his skipper, who's already missed one from reasonable range. Should nail this. As I said, 21 games so far, 21 goals so far this season in his 6 games. Lloyd doesn't miss this time.
Well, certainly Richmond fans shouldn't be worried at this point, given the fact that I think they've competed pretty hard so far in this game, Walsey. A couple of things haven't gone their way, and Essendon have been able to be super efficient going forward. And we know that that's a real strength of theirs at the moment.
2 goals coming from ruck work. Hill did it by himself in the forward pocket, set it up with the centre bounce tap for the second one.
Lloyd's first goal, Walsey, the advantage just from the book is 9 kilograms and 4 centimetres for David Hill over young Patterson for the Tigers in the centre.
It's going to be tough work for Richmond in the ruck. You can see it shaping up that way already.
These two teams actually 15th and 16th for hit-outs in the league, but the Bombers have been able to generally break even at the clearances. Not that time, though. Advantage taken after good tackling work from King. This is the skipper, Kane Johnson. Oh, Richo certainly not holding back. And Winderlich flashing through, as he's done with great effect so far this season. Bombers always seem to look more potent when McPhee's up and running out of defence. This time, though, it's chopped off. Free kick going against Lucas. Polak. Rains. Again, he hangs it a long time. The numbers should be able to prevail. Delidio over his direct opponent tonight, McPhee, and Howards running. Richo's coming. but no one could stop McPhee, and the Bombers have got plenty of options on the way out. Jobe Watson, one of them. He loves playing at the MCG. Jobe Watson's going to get 50 there.
Marks out, went straight over, 2-3 metres.
Here's a quick look at it. And that was it there. Heard the target again in between three Tigers. Had Peverill away. Not a big goal kicker. And that remains the case. Lloyd too strong. He had Thursfield where he wanted to. And he was never going to miss it.
5 metres, 1 more metre.
What's he do, Vossi? Go on the right foot or check side with the left?
Check side. I'd start to angle my run towards the point of the goal square, just to open up the face a little bit.
That's the line, no closer. Wait for play on. Hold there, hold
Let's
there.
watch what he does. There it is. Open it up. And around she goes. Essendon's got 3 on the board.
It's just a great one-hander, just in the field of play. But if they're able to get those one-on-one contests, then they'll struggle for most of the night because they're seasoned players, the Essendon forwards. Well, just a great mark by Matthew Lloyd, the one-hander going back. Richmond certainly wouldn't want to see one-on-ones coming in all night. They'll struggle against seasoned forwards that Essendon have.
Andrew Cracker in at the centre bounces for the Tigers. Peverill is his opponent.
Talk about weight differences, Anthony. Lloyd's got 8 Ks on Thursfield, so.
And he used it well, didn't he?
Yep. Here's Davey. Short to McVeigh. Just on the line. Looking to get it moving quickly. Wheels around. It's a long ball. Hill set himself nicely. Is it marked? No, umpire said play on. Big fella still has got it. Couldn't get boot to ball. Newman, good handball under pressure to Tivendale. That's a superb kick. Good vision. Now Meyer. Out towards Tambling. And Tambling's got it. It was a very clever kick. He forced Tambling to sort of lead in the end.
Yep.
And Tambling did well. Just protected the ball as he took the mark.
Big man, isn't he, David Hill? Just the strength of him. And we see Tambling leaps a little bit early on Bashahuli, gets a bit of a ride, and the ball hits him in the midriff.
Must kick goal for the Tigers. And Tambling makes no mistake.
That was a big goal for the Tiggies.
Was.
They certainly needed it.
Tiggies.
Just to steady themselves when they got away to a pretty good start. They've been competing in the early part of this game, but have gone forward and missed their chances. So to be able to have someone to go back and collect their thoughts and kick the goal, very important.
Of course, Terry Wallace, remember that last week Adelaide got the really fast start on them. They were able to work their way back into the game. Kevin Sheedy making some changes too, just refortifying his defence with Cole coming back on to go into defence.
Polak into the ruck for Richmond.
And there he is. A change might work for them. There's the clearance king in the AFL, Nathan Foley. Extracting it and getting it forward. Pettifer, one of 4 key planks starting in this Richmond forward line tonight.
The key area, no doubt, will be the clearances and the stoppage work. But you can actually compete there, even though you're probably going to lose 90% of the ruck work. You can still compete. Just got to rove off the opposition ruck's hands.
Tuck actually did the ruck work.
Yeah, it's
there.
interesting. Polak did the centre bounce. Immediately after the centre bounce, he went back to centre half back, which means Tuck, in effect, is the ruckman. Most unusual.
Great vision again and forethought by James Hurd. Now, no, that is a very bad decision. That is a very, very bad decision the way I read it. Happy to stand corrected.
Well, I thought Monfries played on. I thought
he went on with the
lucky.
momentum.
Let's have a look at it. Monfries marks. He goes forward.
That's play.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
what
to
do you
play
do
on
then?
or go back behind the
You weren't in
mark.
the contest, Kane.
Well,
You can't grab him. You weren't in the contest, mate. Sorry.
He's,
Stay out,
that,
Common sense did
That's
not
better for
prevail.
the
listen,
It's
listen
better
to
for
the
the
crowd. Listen to the crowd. And that's just so disappointing that an umpire makes a blue like that.
And Monfries can't take full advantage.
Well, he knows he shouldn't.
You're an idiot, Rob.
Good sportsman.
Thank you, Chris. You're right.
So Angus Monfries misses. 7 goals, 5 for the season.
Mark's there,
for
Jace.
young Monfries. As Tuck's got it. Deep in defence. Kicks to Johnson. Good effort by McVeigh. Hill
Handball.
coughed up the handball.
Black team advantage.
Now Reigns, a long ball inside 50. Pettifer's out of position. And, oh, he's got the free kick.
They don't do square ups, do they?
Oh, I'd like to have a look at that one too. Oh, Pettifer's
Cracker.
played on. And he's kicked into the forward pocket. And he's found Cracker.
Last two umpiring decisions are the sort of decisions that are turning the football public off the game.
Tambling and Cracker spending a fair bit of time in the midfield at the moment. Rotating through that area of the ground.
Cracker for the Tigers' second. He's slotted it through. Well, a perplexing free kick. I mean, Slattery, I thought he did it quite well, actually. Stood his ground.
It was that just that little arm around that he's.
Oh, it was 6, but Pettifer had hold of Slattery's jumper as well.
And that's the position of the umpire, isn't it?
I'm not critical of the umpires at all because they are under instructions.
Well, just
It's
hold
those
fire,
who give
Wilson.
the instructions I'm critical of.
We need to let you expand a bit, Wolsey, on what you were talking about a moment ago.
Well, I just think that Jiggy Touchwood decisions, the footy public hate it. I was in country Victoria through the week and everybody who spoke to me said that that's what disappoints them with the game. And I'm not blaming the umpires, I'm blaming the people who give the umpires the instructions.
All right, well, Foley again is involved. Here, Peveril, Monfries, Hurd. And well played off Thursfield, did everything but take the mark. Reigns is there to help out. Tuck, Foley again. Can't take on Elwyn Davey and get away. And Monfries, what a brilliant tackle.
It's on the ball.
And Angus Monfries is one that works very hard inside the 50 usually for the Bombers with his tackling. Not such a good kick though, and Newman's able to read it best. Swing into action the Tigers, Delidio.
Check rewind.
Yeah, he's back on the ground, out in the sandy wing. It wasn't a great start for him there.
Well done.
Yeah, got it out, got it moving. Polak, Richardson demanded the ball. You could see that. Bombers have got an extra man back inside 50. Howard flying. Also Meyer. This is Edwards. We saw him last week. He's got lots of flair. And in the end, though, he couldn't get past those 4 or 5 Bombers. No one clears the 50 more than Dustin Fletcher in the whole AFL, and he's done that successfully once again. And it's Lucas, and he's got men running for him.
Super kick.
It was.
It was a super kick because Stanton ran 30 metres to receive that, running with the flight of the ball. Courage by Stanton, but a super kick by Scotty Lucas.
He wants to give it to Hurd, and he does in the end.
This will be a fascinating matchup, Joel Bowden and James Hurd.
Well, yesterday they were brothers in arms at the youth conference, supporting the AFL and the battle against the federal government for the illicit drugs policy. Tonight their arch enemies is Hurd. Oh, the big fly, McVeigh! And he's paid it. big mark from Mark McVeigh. As in the same situation as Matthew Lloyd found himself in, he runs around and he hits the post.
Come here, Matty. Matty Lloyd. 2 metres, please.
Big fly.
Yeah, interesting how much of a piece of it he got.
Yeah, I think slow mode made it a mark.
King out of defence. What a creative kick that was. Tivendale, Tigers are running, got good overlap here. Johnson gives Rewalt. We didn't give him a great chance, to be fair. And Mel Michael was a little hasty perhaps to release it. Camporeale had 18 possessions on his return last week. They're running and gunning again. Cole through the middle. This is Dyson. Creates a lot of opportunities. Up forward is one of the highest in the goal assists for the Bombers, Ricky Dyson, but not able to find his man that time.
McVeigh did exceptionally well for Essendon to back and bring that ball to ground.
I tell you what, I am impressed about Richmond at the moment. They're prepared to run and link through the midfield. They're moving the ball quickly so they can give their forwards every chance. If they move it too slow, Essendon will just fold back in numbers.
Well, they've got numbers back here. Camporeale, plenty of time. Now Elwyn Davey. He's got Lucas ahead. He's got Lloyd going back to the goal square. Just sets it up for Lloyd. And Tigers should be able to escape here okay. Howard absconding from the back pocket and gets his man. And that is Andrew Rains.
Rains decides to go backwards to Bowden. He'll switch. He's got a couple of loose Tigers on the other back flank.
Need a midfielder to get out there. They need him to work hard.
Polak. This is a nice build-up from the Tigers. Can they finish it off? Handball comes back to Polak. And that is well done. Dropping the absolute pud is Patterson. Did all the hard work, Richmond. But in the end, the mark didn't stick and the Bombers are away.
Well, the Bombers haven't got much to go to because they've all run downfield.
Heartbreaking that for Terry Wallace-Walsey.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because everything's set up and a player drops a sitter in the forward 50. Essendon had to fiddle with the footy a bit because they just have to wait for numbers to get forward.
Hooley's kick after the Watson pass finds Fletcher. Advancing again and stretching the handball for Ryder. It's a bullet. Monfries takes the bullet.
And Fletcher goes to Ryder and says, well done, young fella. And Terry Wallace says this could well be a 2-goal turnaround, one that we missed and one that they'll get.
It's a shame because King and Polak did all the hard work, didn't they?
It's a little thing here if you're going to fill the space. But if there's somebody behind you and they have to lead into that space, then you've got to watch that guy. You can't afford to just sort of be in your space and not be aware of anything around you. He just ran straight past a Richmond player there and let into space, uncontested.
Kicks goals in most games he plays. Angus Monfries. Only 2 he's gone without so far this year. He's testing the umpire there. It's a couple of misses for Angus Monfries. And the Bombers 3-4-22. The Tigers 2-2-14. How do you assess the opening quarter then, Wolsey, at this stage?
Well, look, they're hanging in there, Richmond. The mark dropped by Patterson a minute ago. The miss by Tambling, the miss by Delidio. With a little bit going their way, they could be even with Essendon.
But I guess the Bombers have missed a few as well.
Yeah, in general play, I think they're hanging in okay, the Tigers.
So Paddy Ryder saw that one safely over the line. 60 out from the Bombers' goal. Ryder works his way to the front. Nice tap. Watson wraps up Delidio.
Matthew Richardson just come onto the field, had a bit of a spell. He's going down to the forward line. Fletcher sees him sneaking along the boundary line and says, I'll get you.
Peveril just ripped it out of the pack. Watson spills to Rains. Beautifully done by Foley. Got it out to Delidio. Now the Tigers away again to half forward. So what can they manufacture here? Kingsley just on the boundary line. The umpire said that's okay. So Kent Kingsley coming up for touch number 6. There's a little lead from Revolt. Ignored. Now he goes to Richardson.
Well, he's just come on. And what wonders, have a look at his left eye. That's where he copped that terrible injury, 13 or 15 stitches last week.
So Matthew Richardson has a ping at the goals. Kevin Sheedy's out of the box early, prepares to come on. He would probably be disappointed with Essendon's first quarter. He should be further in front.
Lucas for Cole. Back for a couple of weeks. His kicking's been the area that just let him down a bit, but Sheeds has been pretty happy with his form. Here's Winderlick on the other side. Just a couple of possessions for him so far. Another rejuvenated Bomber. There's Monfries with a very ordinary kick. Peverell and King. Is it deliberate? No, it's not.
Well done by the Richmond players there. That's a mini win. You take those little mini wins throughout a game.
Well, they've got 12 seconds to try and capitalise on the mini win and make it a maxi win. Pettifer's going to give them one last crack. Let's see if Richo will revolt! Oh, what a leap! He took more contested marks in the under-18 competition than anyone else, and we got a glimpse as to how and why that was the case there, Bossy.
Well, I don't think Richo's too pleased with that, but what an absolute jump here. Look at this, just attacks the ball, and that's what we love. We love that spectacle in our game. It would have been fantastic if we've pulled down. But I think that there's nothing splitting these two sides at the moment. I think they're both competing pretty well. I don't think any ascendancy's been attained by Essendon at this particular point in time.
You agree, Rob?
Yeah, I agree, Quarters. I think Richmond have hung in really well. I think Terry Wallace will go out there and say, hey, boys, if we had capitalised on a couple of opportunities we had, we could be in front.
So quarter time at the MCG and dream time at the G, and the Bombers lead the Tigers by 7 points. Lions 41, Collingwood 49 in the second quarter.
And the Bombers have got Paddy Ryder in the ruck, David Hills down in the goal square.
And that's a free kick.
Never had the footy here. Free kick, never had the footy right there.
And it's going to go to Stanton. Had 4 disposals in the first quarter. McPhee to Camporeale. Look out. Ooh, just got the kick in time. Snared by Tivendale to Patterson. Oh, it was a dodgy old handball. Tigers have numbers though, as Johnson shorts it to Rains. Beautiful pass to Richardson. Now Foley, an impressive young player.
This will be his 11th disposal, most of any player on the ground, once he decides to get rid of it.
He jumped the gun there, was he?
9th in the AFL this season in disposals as Foley.
And in that particular play, Foley stopped, but he had to keep going. He had to keep the ball going forward because Richmond had one-on-ones forward of the ball.
Revolt's kick to Kingsley was ordinary. Cole to McPhee. Now Essendon on the rebound. Winderlick to Hurd. Stanton back to Winderlick. Good teamwork by the Bombers. Now wide as McVeigh. Swings onto the left. Looks for Lucas. Beautiful pass.
In good form, McVeigh. And Scotty Lucas wheel around on the left.
He will do just that right now. It's a long bomb to the tip of the goal square. Hills there. Lloyd flies high. Front and centre, it's all Tigers. And this is King. To the run of Deledio. Good work by Richmond. Now Rains kicks a long bomb. Underneath it is Cole, and that'll allow us to go to Christy Malthouse.
Thank you, Stephen. No injuries to report on, but interesting to see Matthew Richardson. We've seen him on screen a few times, not wearing any protection over his eye. Obviously confident he can play out the game without it. The only thing worrying him at the moment is the way the forward line is functioning. He had a lot to say to his fellow forwards during the quarter-time break.
All right, let's see how the Bombers forward line functions here, and it's functioning okay as Peverell delivers for Matthew Lloyd. This would be gettable for Lloyd. He would take his best kick, Rob, but he could get it from there.
He could get it from there, Hutto. One thing about the Tigers, the last 2 times they've rebounded from defensive 50, they have backed themselves, Bossy, and it's been exciting, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've run and linked with hands, and that's what they have. Hasn't been a feature of their game so far this year, so they're prepared to back themselves.
Matthew Lloyd kicked 9 goals against the Tigers in 2004 in a big bag. That won't be a goal. Oh, but it might be still for the Bombers. Lucas, he's going to wheel around. And he's happy.
And look, it's technical stuff here, Wolsey, but you want your opponent to ground a Scott Lucas and then a third up jumper to come over the top in that situation.
Just too easy, wasn't it?
Scott Lucas kicks his 26th goal for the season and the 396th of his career. Gives the Bombers a little bit of breathing space. It's out to 13. Gee, Tuck contested that ruck knockout. Centre bounce. That's how desperate the Tigers are at the moment. Winderlick to Monfries. Looks for Lucas. Kept his feet. Davey pounces. He loves these. He loads up from 50. It's going to be close. It just misses. He is an excitement machine.
David Hill made the decision then not to fly, not to go for the mark. That is a mistake. It could become worse than that in a moment, but it may yet turn out okay for the Tigers. Tambling backs himself here against Mel Michael. He's going to win a free. It'll give the Bombers a chance to get numbers back. Tambling will want to move it as soon as he can.
Professional free kick that. In order to stop Tambling, he gave away the free kick, and a wise decision by Big Mel.
A line between Tambling and the goal square for the Tigers. They make their leads now into the pocket. Revolt. Little sideways glance from Richo, and he saw that Revolt was full of running, and Revolt wants to move it quickly to the top of the square. Richo's getting back there. Pettifer, Richo almost. Patterson loping after it. His physical presence felt there by Stanton. Good backup from Fletcher. Somehow found a way to get it to Stanton. Myers not giving in yet.
Good tackle. No, he was over the top of the ball. He can be held. Okay, yep.
Still much prefer that movement by Riewoldt to be able to get the ball in quick, drive it to the square. Richo got his hands to it, didn't quite mark.
Tuck and Ryder. That was an interesting handball from Tuck. The umpire said it's A-OK. Pettifer hacks it in towards full forward. Revolt and Richo. Got a bit of a ring to it, hasn't it? Out of defence, though. Steady as she goes for the Bombers. Stanton threading it. Winderlick, they love to see him run and gun from the wing. No one forward, though. Absolutely no one inside the 50. So he has to hold on and switch across. A couple of pretty decent targets in Hurd and Lucas. Beaten point blank that time by Polak. Tuck through it, I reckon. And it's a Bomber free.
Against Tambling.
Scott Lucas!
I think it was Tambling.
Yeah,
In fact, it was Tuck.
Yeah.
Good pick up.
So free kick going to Lucas.
That's it now. Stucky. Move away. Play on!
He's looking for Lloyd. It's a good kick.
It is a beautiful kick. And we saw one in the first quarter to Stanton running with the fly. He lifted the eyes. He saw Lloyd break to the pocket. Look at that, Lloydie. That way, and then I'll cut back. And he just held onto the footy long enough for Lloyd to get the second lead on. And it was hard and low, the ball coming in, almost impossible for the defender to spoil.
In your day, Robert, he used to deliver it lace out like that to you.
Who did?
Yeah.
Bruce Dool.
Brucey.
Bruce Dool. And if I didn't get it, I didn't worry too much, because it'd go down the other end and Bruce would bring it back again.
Lloyd. He is very disappointed with that kick. So Brucey was good with the lace-out passes, was he?
He was terrific. I'll tell you who wasn't. Curly Austin.
All right, we've got Chris Newman now.
Remember those players, Hutto?
Certainly do, Rob.
Didn't he hold Peter Hudson goalless, Curly Austin?
We flooded that day.
Had an interesting kicking style, did Curly, didn't he, from full-back?
He had a two-handed drop.
Tambling's been good tonight. That's not a bad kick. And Patterson, who dropped the mark early, is able to take a much more difficult grab. That might lift the Tigers. They got some good run here. Polak, delivery not bad for Richardson. He just can't quite make them stick at the moment. Revolt, well done. Tivendale, the drop of the ball. Pettifer used his body well. Could have won a free for himself. Sometimes you get a free for that, sometimes you don't.
Conan, you're playing for it, Kane. There's nothing in it.
He did play for it, but did he get some high contact? Maybe a little bit. Ryder with the acrobatic Over the top, what a leap it was. He's only coming over Shane Tuck, of course, who's the unlikely ruckman for the Tigers.
James Hird down there in the defensive 50, hands on hips.
I'd be roving off Paddy Ryder in this ruck contest.
Ball spills to McPhee, who just bangs it away, and as far as Johnson, who dropped the mark. But he's lucky there, got a cheap free kick. The push from Winderlich, that was lucky. So Kane Johnson, the skipper for the Tigers, has given the most free kicks away of anyone in the competition this year. There's 1-4 as the Tigers go into the pocket. Advantage paid. It was a free kick to the Bombers, and Hird's away as he goes pretty much up the middle. There's Tigers everywhere here. And Rain's handball finds Johnson. He kicks to half forward to Bowden. Ambitious kick. Couldn't find Meyer. And McPhee mops up yet again. Now he's got Lucas at half back, a long lead, but he ignores him and goes short to Fletcher.
Had a few on, didn't they, the Bombers there? Multiple choices. And he decided to choose C, Camporelli. Cole now Winderlich. He thought he had it in hand, but as it turned out, there was some pressure to come. Stanton, another bolter for the Bombers. Certainly didn't look, because if he had it, he would have seen there was 4 Tigers back there. Yeah. Newman, one of them.
Just a reckless, silly, senseless kick by Slattery.
Well, Bombers flooding very strongly at the moment, so they're finding it difficult on the rebound to actually hit targets. Tivendale got a couple of options. This is young King. He's been impressive. They need Kingsley to kick a goal here. They needed a goal. They didn't get a goal. 2-4 to 4-6. The margin is 14. We saw some interesting kicking a goal last night in Perth, didn't we? And these two teams struggling as well.
Paddy Ryder in picture's been doing a lot of ruck work for Essendon in this first half. And I'm sure the reason for that is that Kevin Schutte would be well aware that with Ryder doing ruck work, it means that Hill has a breather. And Richmond are depleted in the ruck. We can see Hill coming into picture now, but in the second half, Hill should be able to go right over the top of the Richmond ruckman, one who is Tuck, which is amazing because Simmons isn't playing, Noble isn't playing, so Patterson and Tuck will do it hard against Hill in the second half.
Thumping kick by Lucas. That's a terrific mark taken by Newman. It's been 20 minutes since the Richmond goal.
The actual other thing as a ground level player though, Wolsey, when a ruckman is dominating like that, it sometimes can actually be easier because you know who's going to win. So you just set up based off the fact that he'll win the ball and you play off his hands.
Free kick to Tamley. So Richard Tamley, taken pick 4 back in 2004. One ahead of Buddy Franklin that year. Thursfield, received from King, now Rains. Broke the tackle. And the mark's taken by Tivendale.
Bombers have got lots of extra players back.
Tivendale just bangs it and hopes for the best to the tip of the goal square. Pack flies and Slattery concedes the rush behind. Kane Pettifer a couple of minutes ago, a near thing. And he is very lucky that he missed.
James Hird uses McPhee. Got Peverill on the overflow through the middle. And he's pretty comfortable with the way he's going at the moment, Peverill. McVeigh, we saw him push forward last week and have 5 shots at goal. Lucas couldn't hang on. That's a trip.
Thank him. Grab his leg. Short kick. Short kick.
We saw a report today at the Telstra Dome for an attempted trip from Matthew Lappin.
Well, that'll be thrown out, Heather.
I would have thought so.
Matthew Lappin's report will be thrown out.
This is Chris Newman, who's been very busy in the last few minutes. He's been able to run to the wing mainly because all the Essendon numbers are in the back half. Now Patterson, that's setting a task for him. He didn't time it that well, but Hill with the infraction. Now there's a man loose inside the 50. Delidio was screaming for the ball. Instead he gives it to Rains, who sets it up. Now Pettifer in pole position this time, almost. was able to draw the contact, engage Slattery, but wasn't able to drag the mark down. And here's the man that sends them forward out of defence so often, Dustin Fletcher.
Well, Fletcher's free in defence because the Tigers have got extra numbers in their back line, so too have Essendon. So Fletcher is that man for Essendon.
Long ball by Stanton. Lloyd let his opponent under the ball. Was he tackled when he didn't have it? Umpire said play on.
It's a 3-on-1 here.
And the short kick finds Jake King. Oh, he's turned it straight over to Winderlick. Here's a chance now. Lucas. At this level, you pay for those mistakes. That was unforgivable, really.
That kills you.
And Scott Lucas won't miss from here.
Yeah, it's very, very disheartening when there's a turnover in the middle of the ground. It was the right decision. I mean, you still got to be able to take that option. You can't be afraid to take that option. Otherwise, you play safe football. That doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt you.
8 touches for Winderlick this quarter as Scott Lucas lines up for goal number 2. Well, I said he wouldn't miss from there, but he did.
I don't think he took enough steps, didn't go back far enough, and they are keeping Richmond in the game with their inaccurate kicking. Little Titch Edwards, Hutto.
This is his first touch tonight. Really liked his game last week, Wolsey.
In Adelaide, he was good.
Yeah, he played under Andrew Jarman last year, and Andrew Jarman is a coach. I was working with him last week, and he hates the modern way of footy play. He loves the play on and the run and gun, and he's really taught that to his young players. And looks like a couple of Tigers are taking that on board. Here's Newman. Lovely low pass. Good delivery for Richardson, who needs to show everyone how to do it. Go back and kick the goal.
Time started, Matt.
They are running the ball a lot better, though, Wolsey. They are prepared to carry it and back themselves in, which will create that one-on-one contest forward of the ball, because Essendon will fold back into defence if they don't move it quickly, if they get that fast break.
It looks like Essendon's got a flood in their defence. They haven't really. It's because Richmond's only playing with 3 forwards. Essendon's got its 6 defenders back there. But it's because Richmond are playing with only a handful of forwards.
Richardson, almost.
That was a big kick. That just draws you a bit closer when Essendon have been on top of Richmond this quarter.
In the meantime, Essendon have moved into the midfield. Jason Johnson looking for Davey. McPhee bangs it onto the boot for Lucas. It was a good option. And Scott Lucas playing in front. Will line up directly in front, pretty much where he had the last kick, maybe about 5 metres closer to goal.
Good play by McPhee to centre it. And let's see if Lucas goes back a little bit further. He's still, I reckon, a bit close to the man on the mark.
Lucas for his second. It's starting just to get a little bit nasty now. Well, they want to hold things up for the rest of this second term, the Tigers.
And look, Richo had that shot and he missed it at one end. You kick a point nowadays and it's almost an attacking play from the full back line.
And Richmond players, you can see Richo in the goal square. Richmond players getting in a line between the goal square and the centre circle. And that means if Richmond get a fast break, their forwards have got the flanks to lead out into. They've got space there. Hawthorn did it so well last week.
Number 1 ruckman for both teams back in action. And that is a terrific grab from Delidio. McVeigh getting a bit of his own medicine from last week. Pushed power forward and took some terrific overhead marks.
Fancies himself, Brett Delidio, and why not?
What is it? Fancies himself
as to kick the goal.
Oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure what you're on about there. Why shouldn't he fancy himself? What about that?
I'll tip that.
On your mark. Well, lucky Delidio fancies himself.
But you were saying he was a bit arrogant, Wolsey.
Not at all. He fancied his chances of kicking the goal because he is a thumping long kick, gave it everything, and he split the middle.
Fancy that.
And again, you see the Richmond forwards getting in a line. And that's good coaching, good discipline. Quick kick out of the centre. Delidio marked. If they can get another break, get a player on the lead out wide, well, all of a sudden, they're only a goal behind.
27 minutes between goals there for the Tigers. As the Bombers get the centre clearance. Stanton into the pocket. Lucas. Leading possession getters, McPhee has got a dozen. Winderlick, Lucas and Stanton each got 11 for Essendon. For the Tigers, 11 to Foley, being quiet this quarter, and 10 each to Tivendale and Rains.
Lucas has had 11 kicks. Guess how many handballs?
He's had 7 marks too this quarter, and that's a free kick going Essendon's way against Jackson. And will be taken by Stanton. Good hard running from Mark Johnson. He's rewarded. Lloyd provides a lead. He goes longer than that. Looking for Hill. Getting there is Patterson to Foley. They did that well. Tigers under immense pressure. Rains. Fed it out to Johnson. Got driven into the ground after the kick. The umpire said that's okay. Here's what Robert Walls calls Titch Edwards. And he goes short to Tuck.
Now, why isn't that 50? From what we've seen earlier, James Hird was not involved in the contest and grabbed him. That was 50 metres 1 quarter ago.
That was common sense there, wasn't it?
And also because James Hird was involved, Vossi, blokes like you and Hirdy get good runs.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with that then.
So Tuck fumbles at an inopportune time. Watson doesn't. Sure hands. Peverell. Jason Johnson. Haven't seen a lot of him. In fact, just his 3rd possession coming up. He's been getting his 20-odd a game since he's been back in the Bombers team. Lloyd, well, wonder he's going to replace his divot there. Gives it back to Hird, who fashions the kick. Almost lured Lucas into the pocket.
Just beautiful. Monfries leads from the goal square, but you're wasting your time,
I was just going to say, what a waste of time.
Gee, it's a good kick.
Scotty Lucas had a bit of an indifferent day last week. I think 6 of his 14 possessions were ineffective. He only kicked 1 goal, but he's having a wonderful year in front of the sticks. 25 goals coming in tonight, and he's only been able to manage another couple.
3 goals, 7 from set shots tonight, Essendon. Lucas has kicked 2-2. Tuck, who's been doing a bit of ruck work tonight, such as the...
Well done.
Desperate measures Richmond have to resort to, given the fact they're short on tall timber.
Stood his ground well there, Pettifer.
Gone back to one-on-one, hasn't it, around the ground?
Yeah, he knew he'd get crunched.
Was a good effort. Pettifer chips back to Tuck. Looks for Richardson. Led to Michael under the ball. Johnson clever towards Cracker, just couldn't quite execute the kick. Cole went without it. Edwards got it to Cracker. Sold the dummy. Cracker snaps. Great goal by the Tigers.
I love that passage of play. There was direct to Richo, the roving from Johnson, centered the ball. Game of centimetres, isn't it? Gets the ball up, 2nd effort, then just the great ball. We saw some skills earlier today of that, and that's what he can do.
Beautiful balance.
Oh, it was fantastic. Well done, great play.
Something to think about for Kevin Sheedy. 2 goals for Andrew Cracker. I was watching Richo as he kicked that goal. He was on his own in the goal line screaming for the ball. Thought he was going to get an easy one, but he was forced to, like all of us, stand and applaud the work of Andrew Cracker. And it's given the Tigers something too. Patterson goes for Richardson and Revolt. They get in each other's way.
Revolt got pushed.
Hands in the back. Hands in the back.
Well, it has to be 50, doesn't it?
Should be.
I reckon it'll go to Revolt. No, Richo.
Hands in the back, Richo.
No, but this is an example of the ball being kicked out wide into space after a centre bounce. Let's have a look at Richo.
Yeah, marking contest, 2 hands in the back.
Gee.
No, against Mel.
Well, why wasn't it 50? I mean, you have to ask that question.
Right there.
Confusion amongst the players as to whose free it was.
Well, it was 50 metres.
Surprising to see Mark Johnson having a word to the umpire too. Now, wouldn't this make things interesting? Things are hotting up at the G. Don't go to sleep tonight. You can later, but
it amazes me that Essendon are 2 points in front.
Yeah. They got 10 goals, Steve, so you're going to have to stay with us for the second half.
Oh. Gee, had a hot date too at half time. I have got a hot date at half time. Peter Costello.
Okay.
I hope you're going to ask the hard questions, Porters.
Do my best, Rob.
A hard man. Old school journalist.
Well, Richo Man's got a smile on his face, and why wouldn't he? He's got the Tigers to within 2 points. It's a gutsy effort just to be out there tonight for Matthew Richardson. Fractured eye socket, broken nose, 13 stitches. And it's a 2-point ball game. Deledio.
They need Hill back in the centre, Essendon.
Slattery. Watson tried to get it to Hurd. Hurd says, get out of the way. Ineffective kick, but well picked up by Cole. Now what's he going to do with it? Oh, it's an ordinary kick. He's not having a good night, Richard Cole. Tuck into space. Richardson! He's going to go to shorter. Richard! What are you thinking?
Why?
Should have gone and just pumped it home. And a lucky let-off for the Bombers.
He's just kicked a goal. The man on the mark's 45 out. Richo can go the distance. Just go back and put it through.
James Hurd through the middle. Bombers trying to respond here. They're under some stick from the Tigers. 2 points the difference. Fletcher gives Lloyd every opportunity. He disposed of his man there, Lloyd. Should be a free kick, and is.
And Bossy, you think David Hill needs to be in at centre bounces?
I think so. The run of the game has changed, and Hill needs to go back into the middle just to get that ascendancy back in the middle of the ground around stoppages.
It's the interference on Thursfield. That would have made a few Tiger fans nervous there. With Davey ready to jump all over Clinton King.
Look out.
Jake King, I should say. Clinton King, former Tiger. Now, Cole's gone down behind play.
Davey got an elbow in the midriff. Be interesting to see if we can catch that. Umpires saw it and thought it wasn't worth a free kick.
This is Rains. Tark, good luck. Overwhelmed by numbers. Oh, Lucas had a couple of handball options. He had a couple of handball options.
What a kick.
Wasn't bad, was it? But they could have actually run it inside 50.
Let's have a look at the Davey thing. He just gets caught around the middle, goes, you can see the umpire. The umpire's only 15 metres away, saw the whole thing and said, don't worry about it, boys.
It was a bit like Josh Carr last week, though, wasn't it, really?
2 goals, 3 to Scott Lucas. It's the Bombers by 3 points. Polak marks just inside defensive 50. There's Davey off for some treatment. Marked by Patterson in front of Hurd.
He's had a mixed old night, hasn't he, Patterson? He's had 10 possessions and taken 4 marks.
Oh, look, he's probably Richmond's 3rd or 4th string ruckman, but he's got to carry the load.
Kick finds Newman. Looses Tivendale, who can wind up here from about 60. Looks for Richardson against Michael. Fletcher, 3rd man up. Here's a chance for Revolt to Jackson. Oh, he's got it! Tigers in front! What a goal! What a goal from Daniel Jackson.
Watch this kick, running away from your goals. Does a reverse check side almost.
Oh.
That is incredible goal.
And that's his first kick. He just came off the interchange bench. Raced to the forward line and announces himself with a goal like that, and it is unbelievable to think that Richmond is in front as we head towards half-time.
Is that James Hurd in the ruck?
Oh, no, I can't believe that.
Yeah. Hurd versus Patterson, and it's given the Tigers a decisive advantage. They're trying to make the most of it. McPhee, gee, was very nearly playing on.
What's going on out there, Robert?
I don't know what's going on, but you don't put thoroughbreds in positions where they can get knocked around.
Michael for Watson. They got 10 seconds, a 10-second play. Lucas the man most likely here. Can the Tigers deny him? They can, at least for the moment. Oh, they can't. They couldn't. Beat him. Oh, can you believe it? No score. The dream becoming a nightmare for the Bombers on half-time. And the Tigers are in front.
Just as well it wasn't in Tassie, Hutto, this game.
Well, you've just got to say, where is Essendon going? Essendon starts so many games well, and then they let the game slip away. The last centre bounce we saw James Hird doing the ruck work. There is a massive breakdown in communications with the Bombers.
Thanks, Anthony. What about that for a beautiful sight tonight? Melbourne in full bloom.
Traffic.
Absolutely stunning scene at the MCG on dream time at the G. The third time these two teams have played in this match. As Kevin Sheedy at half-time in the rooms. Not happy, and fair enough too. The Bombers should be in front. Without wanting to take any credit away at all from the Tigers. Kevin Sheedy laying down the law.
I bet one of the things he said was we will not have James Hird go in the ruck at a centre bounce for the rest of his career.
Yeah, it was like parking a Rolls Royce in the shopping centre, wasn't it, Wolsey?
Well, you just don't do that. Just a big mix-up by Essendon, and I just think they've got to use David Hill in the ruck for 90% of this second half.
Well, where Richmond got back into that game was through the midfield and that contested area of the game. Once they got ascendancy there, their scoring power increased significantly.
There's Richo Man.
Really admiring quarters.
Yeah.
Shocking injury that he
effort.
got last week in Adelaide, and he's out there tonight having a real crack at it.
Remember a few years ago he had a fractured cheekbone, a really bad one, and he tried to play the next week. He had a head like a pumpkin, but he still tried to get out there, and it was only the last minute a withdrawal. So well, all the players at this level usually play with injuries, but tonight above and beyond the call of duty for Matthew Richardson. And his Tigers are in front as we start the third term. It's Richmond by 3 points. Foley having a ripping year. Possession number 13.
Grabbed his jumper! You grabbed his jumper!
Gee, that's a soft free kick
Straight
too.
to him, straight to him!
It's Paddy
straight to him.
Ryder's free.
Grabbed his jumper!
Didn't see any much in that, but Ryder's got it, and he's not arguing. And his kick finds Schooley. Quick hands to Stanton to Peveril on the southern stand wing. Now a long raking left foot kick. Lucas is caught behind, and it's a push. Play on, advantage paid. Bowden chips short. Gets it back. Now goes to Kingsley. He's in front of Ryder. Should mark and does. So well worked there by Bowden as Kingsley. Good run by the Tigers. Tuck. Onto the left. Looks for Richardson. Double team. McPhee drops the mark. Back of the pack. Pettifer can't pick it up. McPhee can. Johnson just got the handball away. Fletcher under the pump and concedes the point. Good work by the Tigers forwards.
And that's at the Richmond end of the ground. Richmond supporters giving him plenty.
So Bombers on the back foot a little there, but no, quickly rebound. Mark Johnson back to his best last week. That certainly not his best. Chris Newman goes for Patterson. Hill didn't give away the free. Delidio, a little shake to get rid of Davey. And we'll go again. Richardson, good position, good position.
Now Michael sitting behind. Richo gets in front and uses his full stretch. Terrible kick by Mark Johnson.
So again, it comes down to Richo and his ability to kick it straight at goal. 1 goal, 2 for the night. It's wobbly, but it's online, and that is all that matters right now.
Certainly leading from the front, Wolsey. Prepared to put his body on the line for his team.
Well, he took the mark. He also got a whack over the back of the head. But good on him.
Well, some headaches now for the guru, Kevin Sheedy. His Bombers are 10 points down. David Hill waits for things to restart in the middle. 2 goals to Richardson, 2 goals to Cracker. While Lloyd and Lucas have kicked 2 each for the Bombers. Bang! Good hard stuff in the middle. Here's Davey. Found some space. Unwinds from 55. Alvin Davey! That's what they call a quick answer.
Wow. Wow, he just took off. Don't you love someone who just backs themselves in a contest? Ball turns over, sloppy handball, bang away. You almost feel better that you're retired when you've got blokes like that running around out of a football field now.
Hasn't there been some highlights tonight? Most of it happened in the last 10 or 15 minutes of game time. Enough to make any coach sweat.
Terry Wallace has an extra man in defence. It's Polak at the moment. That means Essendon have got an extra one. There's Polak double teaming Hurd.
Hill doing that bulking ruck work again. Jason Johnson having an impact in the last 60 seconds. Was that a free to Humphries? You heard the answer from the umpire. Rains, aggressive handball, tuck. Give it to the quicker players out wide. There was 2 quick ones there, wasn't there? Foley and Delineo. Gagno on the wing. Away he goes. Fancies himself all he reckons. Not Kingsley widely play on. Crazy stuff. The moment got to him perhaps. Ryder, Hill, and now instead of the Tigers going forward, it's the Bombers. Hurd from the Peverill kick. Looks up. Lloyd's pretty fair option. And that is courageous stuff from Polak.
That's the extra man in defence. He's the extra one for Richmond. McPhee at the other end is free for the Bombers.
Rains has turned to generate something out of defence. Tivendale, a quick look in the rearview mirror. He saw it was Winderlick after him eventually. He's got it forward. Richo again the target. Fletcher the nemesis.
Good play by Fletcher backing back. He was prepared to back. And there's McPhee. Hasn't got an opponent at the moment. Good play by Dustin Fletcher and helped out Mel Michael.
So it's inside the Tigers attacking 50. They lead by 4 points over both the ruckman's heads. Spills to Johnson. He did well, found some space, kicks towards Richardson. Ryder stood his ground and has got the free kick and advantage paid. So Johnson can use the ball better this time. To Hawley, no mark, but he's good enough to win the footy anyway. Gets boot to ball just as he's run down, and that was enough for him to turn over the kick taken by King.
Switching out of defence all the time, the Tigers, and getting some real run and rebound. Delineo playing across half back.
Credit to Patterson too, Walsey. He's been their target out of defence a few times. This is Howard. Pretty adventurous stuff. Not a great handball. Tuck was able to get it back to Bowden. Ball in good hands there. Jackson, well, he kicked that spectacular goal in the second quarter. He's not going to go for a 60-metre bomb, surely, and land it, is he? Or is he? Oh, Jackson, what a night out! He can do no wrong.
Gee, that travel had to be 65 metres, isn't it?
It'd have to be about 65, and Jackson's had 2 kicks for the game and kicked 2 sensational goals.
Daniel Jackson, taken back in 2003, pick 53. Terry Wallace liked it. He spent most of last week on Andrew McLeod.
Yeah, he did.
Tonight, 2 ripping goals with just the 2 kicks. Hill the tap in the path of Jason Johnson. Bombers go inside 50. Hurd's there. So is Polak.
Well, Kevin Sheedy, I just don't think he can let Polak stay back there, because Polak's more influential than McPhee. And the Bombers are 10 points behind. The game's being played on Richmond's terms at the moment. Again, Polak comes into it.
And a driving kick looking for Richardson. He's going to beat about 4 of them. Front and centre. Here's a chance for Ken. Across the face, a point.
One big thing has changed in this game is Richmond's ability to just keep running. They're working still very hard, and they've got the ascendancy through the midfield.
They're powering on, aren't they, at the moment? Stanton with that slightly awkward style, but effective this time. McPhee picks a man through the middle. Hooley. Jason Johnson has been their best player in the quarter. Lloyd and Thursfield. You'd fancy Lloyd one out, but the Tigers have been able to change things significantly as the game's gone on. Bowden and Newman are the two that bring it out of defence the most for Richmond. Another impressive youngster is Cameron Howard. Nothing immediate to go too long, so forced just to give it to another speedsters. Delidio with the initial carrying work. Kent Kingsley finds himself well up the ground. Numbers were with the Bombers. Mark Johnson and Jason Johnson, McPhee. Let's see what the rebound's like for the Bombers. It should be okay because they're lining up on this side of the ground.
There are loose men everywhere. Scott Lucas. Back into the corridor. Winderlick. Stanton. Touched off the boot. Play-on's to call. Oh, somehow it falls into the arms of Monfries. He gives it back to Jason Johnson, who from a standing start misses. Exciting game of footy at the MCG.
Tigers get the next 2 goals. They're going to be very, very hard to beat. Confidence, you can just see the confidence lifting with all of them. They're running as well as they've run for the game.
So the Tigers out of defence through Johnson, and it's slip handballed it quick away for Delidio. He's finding plenty of the footy at the moment. Sends the Sharon forward in the direction of Richardson again. It's predictable, but it's effective at the moment. He's taking on the world, Richo, and winning.
Delidio's the man. 3 or 4 times this quarter, Delidio has just bolted from half-back, used his pace. And I reckon Terry Wallace has said, son, you've got more pace than most of them. Get out there and use it. And what he's doing, he's creating 70-metre plays. He gets it, runs his 20, kicks it 50, and it just gets over the top of the Essendon half-back line and giving Richmond chance to get well in front in this game.
Part 1 accomplished, and now part 2 is being completed as well. Tigers powering on. Tiger high fives around the MCG. They're having a night out.
He has certainly been very important this quarter, Delidio, being able to run and back himself out of the back half. When the ball's hitting the ground in that area of the ground, the Tigers are out after it first, getting into the hands of the people who carry the ball the best, and that's the end result.
Matthew Richardson, make some room in your lounge room for a Sony full-on, full HD LCD television. Robert Wall, surely the Tigers get up. Richo's got a new telly tonight.
Well, Kevin Sheedy's got to make some changes because Polak continues to play by himself in the half-back line for Richmond. Richmond with all the ascendancy, all the scoring. And as I mentioned 5 minutes ago, their confidence is up. They're playing on their terms. Kevin Sheedy's got to make some changes.
They've got to sniff Wolsey. They've got a sniff of their first win, and that's important.
Titch Edwards.
So it's a free kick going to McPhee. He'll have to go back over his mark. No doubt about it. That was an obvious free kick.
You'll have to explain Titch to us at some stage, Wolsey.
Well, there was a Titch Edwards played for Fitzroy many years ago. And that little fella just looks like him.
In the 30s, was it?
Yeah, it was. I remember it.
Camporeale dishes off to Hill, who goes sideways to Michael. Oh, it's a shank straight to his direct opponent, Matthew Richardson. No one to kick to. So he got it over to Tivendale, who now pops it off into the pocket. It's a beautiful kick. And here's the man of the moment. That is a sensational kick from Tivendale.
It was a great lead. He worked him over. He worked Mel Michael over. He was covered by the Essendon player. He was covered by Mel Michael, but he lost him on the lead after the 3rd or 4th lead. Really well done.
So Daniel Jackson, 2 kicks, 2 goals.
He'd only kicked 6 goals in his career before tonight.
So in he comes. His third kick, his third goal. That is damn good value for money.
They're pumped, the Tiggies. They are pumped. And when that goal was kicked, they all run over there. They certainly are very enthusiastic at the moment. As you'd expect when you get a sniff of a win when you haven't had one. The biggest challenge that Richmond will face is composure. And when you get a sniff coming into the last quarter and the game's there to be won.
Well, finally Kevin Sheedy's got someone back on Polak. Believe it or not, it's Scott Camporeale. Polak towers over him. I'll be getting James Hird into the midfield.
It's not getting down there now. Patterson, they can do no wrong, the Tigers. Foley not able to hang on for dear life. Mark Johnson just before the grippers were coming. McVeigh for Monfries. Always a bubbly player, up and running and getting them going for David Hill. He's been thrashed in this quarter by Patterson, at least at ground level. He likes his chances. What a lovely kick. What a sensational goal. It's as if suddenly they've found the secret of how to kick goals.
He's been very important in the context of this game. Hill was able to break forward and kick an absolute bomb outside 50. That'd have to be 60 metres. I know.
Yeah.
Mass confusion here with Essendon. Lucas was running into the back line. The runner said no, go back. And you can see he's standing on the wing. He doesn't know where he should be at the moment.
So in the middle, it's the Tigers by 16. Cracker puts them to the 50. Awkward bounce. Everyone got clean bowled, except for this man, Paddy Ryder. Goes the short option to Winderlick. Thought about dishing off to Peveril. Instead goes a bit longer to Watson. Quickly puts the ball onto the boot. Why wouldn't you win? Hurd's there. Almost. And look at the pace of Delidio. Off to Rains. Richmond go down the middle. Good direct football. The captain, Johnson, to Richardson. No mark. Good effort by Fletcher to spoil. But the Tigers have the numbers. Tambling. Oh, it's an interesting kick. Across the face, and the mark's taken by Ryder.
Well, he had an option, didn't he?
That was a disappointing option to do that.
Yeah, he could have laid it off to Edwards, who was on his own.
Gee, Fletcher did well, didn't he?
Oh, well, is the move been made, boys? Is Fletcher gone on to Richardson?
I would actually like to see Michael stay on Richardson and Fletcher then be the loose man instead of McPhee. Fletcher's been very, very good in that role this year and can stop Richardson being an important part of this game.
Well, Mel's gone forward. Last time we saw him kick a goal, it was at the other end of the ground, wasn't it? Mel goes and finds James Hird. So, Hird into Stanton. They're lining up Basher Hawley.
Super kick again. Yeah. He just doesn't waste it. Mel Michael used it well to Hird. Hird on the tight angle, centred it to Basher. And the young fella's got to put it through for the Bombers. Fletcher has been moved on to Richo. Too good for Mel Michael.
Tambling coming off after that kick, Rob.
Yes, and the Richmond runner, Wayne Johnson, working overtime.
Could really come back to haunt them, but Hurley has kicked a goal in each of his first two matches. Can't find the middle there, so the secret that Daniel Jackson showed them how has been lost.
The Dominator's blowing hard. Bowden to do the kicking in. Short one finds Johnson. What are you laughing at, Robert?
The Dominator needed a respirator.
That's good for you.
That is very good.
So the man of the moment, Daniel Jackson, 3 kicks before that kick.
He ruined it, didn't he? What was he doing in the back line?
Yeah, that's poor.
That is very poor.
Take.
Bring the ball on, please. Play on.
So how it's being told to go. What's he going to do here? He's going to switch. And his kick finds King. Oh dear. Turnover. Lloyd. And there is Thursfield. And a bit of tunnel ball play by Camporeale. Ball still in play. King did well.
They're too quick for Essendon.
Now Howard, they're going backwards over the Tigers. This is going to have to be very clean, and it is. And Richmond out of trouble. As it's marked by Newman. Newman goes to Tivendale, and he's got a panic. Tivendale squares it up.
Dangerous.
Hill's there and takes the strong man.
Oh, calamity. Here's Titch Edwards with the chance, Wolsey. Can he do it? No, he can't. But he's actually been pinged even though he got the handball away. By saying he dropped it.
Season not much of it.
Did he get a hand to it? Well, it looked like he did, but meantime, Bombers are charging forward. Davies going. Elwyn Davey. No. Couple of chances gone begging for the Bombers. A bit like the Tigers have made their move, like a racehorse making the move a little way out from home, and can they keep that momentum going?
Too many furlongs out, I think, Hutto.
They're worried,
I think they'll be all right. I mean, they have the ascendancy in this game. If they keep composed, if they play the way that they have been so far in this quarter, there's no reason why they can't continue.
4-2 quarter in favour of Richmond. They're up and running all right. Need to get another one. 6 minutes to go.
Bombers 19 scoring shots. Tigers 18. Yet it's Richmond in front.
This is the man who's made the big impact. Look at him go.
He's off to the races again. Look at the pace. Into the pocket. Looking for Richardson. Good, brave stuff from McPhee.
Put them up. Put them up.
Very brave stuff from McPhee, who's #1 in the AFL in marks. Before tonight, he'd taken 71 marks. 68 of those 71 were uncontested. But tonight, he's taken 2 or 3 rippers under the pump.
That was a beauty.
His kick finds Ryder, and then he gives it off to Fletcher. No one to go to. Peverill's got to be good here. He's got 3 Tigers around him. Bowden. Clever. Cleverly done. Tuck. Tambling. Just come back on. Sidesteps Lloyd. Now Foley. Not much to go to, and it's a mark taken by
He just
Stanley.
has a hesitation to stop and look around. He doesn't back himself and just want to go forward and draw the people to him. He had the option there, but he didn't take it.
Mel Michael up in the goal square saying, kick it long to me.
Winderlick delaying the entry. McPhee running out of options, but one eventually was on offer. And it's Basher Hurley again, same time, same channel.
He's had a sighter from there, Hutto, so he should get this one. And can Mel play as a forward, Vossi?
He hasn't played there a lot, to be honest, Wolsey, but when he has gone there, he has found the ball. So I wouldn't have thought that goal kicking is his repertoire, though.
Kicked 29 goals in his career, Mel Michael, in over 200 games. But it's Basher Hurley. And we're disappointed with that. So 3-9 from set shots, Essendon. And even though they hadn't put it on the scoreboard, they certainly levelled up the general play for the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Newman. Oh, great run from Tivendale. Again, he's got a panic. He has one. Well, now he's on his right boot. Well, I don't know why he did that. That was silly.
And that's why, Porters, you're right. If you run and carry and have a bounce and end up having to kick on your non-preferred foot, it's not a smart play.
And they've paid the price here, the Tigers, as Essendon get it to their half-forward line. Watson. Here's the big fella, Michael. He's got the mark. I just don't understand a player of Tivendale's experience. It's always easy up here, but just a very costly turnover. As Michael gives it to Stanton, he goes the long bomb and misses. The Tigers by 2 straight kicks.
Newman finds Bowden. 2-5 for the quarter for the Bombers. So things could have been a lot different. Polak.
They may have had the shots, but they're certainly being outplayed in general play at the moment.
Matthew Lloyd 2-2 for the night. Seen a lot of him in this quarter. Rains, he and his mate Delidio have provided plenty of the run out of defence. Oh, that's not a great kick, but Newman he's gone tough tonight. He's been terrific for them. Newman. Polak's also been good. They haven't had too many passengers, the Tigers.
Been a good get by Richmond. Graham Polak, former Fremantle player.
Been gradually finding his feet, hasn't he?
He has.
He's had a reasonable year, Aussie. He's done very well for the Tigers.
Bowden. That was a great kick from Joel Bowden. He had square options, but he went for the most difficult of all of them. And this was the man who was the other option. King is floated down from the wing, and now he's marked it in a much more dangerous area.
Joel Bowden is a star. Has been for a long while.
Did you coach him, Aussie?
I did, actually. Going back a long time ago, Hutto. Came from Alice Springs.
Another loose man inside the 50, and it's Jackson.
Take a kick. There he's there. Thanks, Scotty.
Wow. He's kicked 3. Is he going to be able to kick a 4th out of 4?
Lack of concentration there by Essendon, just to be able to let a Tigers player run into open space, especially when there's a stoppage in play like that.
There's the old Meatloaf song. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. He's got 3 out of 3. Let's see how he goes with his 4th. No. Just sneaks in for a behind.
See, it was that kick in defence that put him off.
Yeah, clearly. He and Richo both with 3 goals for the Tigers. Fletcher brings them back in.
Long ball looking for Lucas. Davey. So the handball back to Lucas. He's got a loose man right in the centre circle. It's Hill. And Lucas is good enough to find him.
16 kicks, Lucas. No handball.
Get out wide. No Mark Stanton. Bowden, good tackle by Stanton. There's a couple of bombers there ready to pounce. McVeigh to Hurd. He always uses it well. There you go. It's clean ball everyone again. Tamley's got the leg speed. That's a free kick. And cops one on the scone for good measure.
Get up.
Get up, Sis. Mark Johnson. He's actually... He's not feeling too flash, actually.
Could have been a hit of heads.
He's kicking him a stretcher. Come in, boy. What's the story?
You're a primary school teacher, weren't you, Wallsy? Is that how you used to say to the kids if they fell over in the playground? Just get up.
Get up, Hutto. And this will lift Richmond.
Is he going to go off, Doc? He needs to go off. He's not going to take his kick.
Gets hit directly on the...
If he's not going to take his kick,
on the
he
head.
needs to go off.
So Tamlin comes off. A little bit worse for wear. Delidio takes the free kick.
Delidio's quarter has been sensational.
Here's Edwards.
Well, that's the interchange player.
You see it so often, don't you, in the modern game?
You do.
How it comes straight on and gets a stat.
Delidio has been very important this quarter. The run that he's provided, I haven't seen him do it for most of the year. And he's just been willing to back himself in and just take the half chances.
That was his 9th possession for the quarter.
And he's averaging 19 per game this season, and he's already up to 20 in this match.
Well, he had that one bad one against Geelong, didn't he? He only had 6 possessions.
There's the actual possessions you get to, and you want him to be carrying the ball for your team, and he hasn't been able to do that so far this year.
Big bomb from Richardson. Hill couldn't mark. Chance for the Tigers here. King. Three-quarter time at the G. And what a quarter by Richmond. They lead the Bombers, Michael Voss and Robert Walls, by 13 points.
Well, Essendon certainly got their shots on goal, but it was Richmond that won plenty of the ball through the midfield. Lots of run off the half-back line. Rains, Delidio off the half-back, chancing their arm, giving their forwards every opportunity. And I can't wait to see this last quarter.
Three-quarter time in Dream Time at the G Mark III. And it is the Tigers, the surprise leaders at three-quarter time. 10-9-69 to the Bombers, 7-14-56. Richardson and Jackson, who's been the surprise pack at both 3 goals. Deledio, an outstanding third quarter. Lucas, Lloyd and Hill, 2 apiece for the Bombers. Very, very quick. The Tigers looked in that third term far too quick for the Bombers. And the running man was Brett Deledio, who's up to 20 disposals. He had 9 of those, Robert Walls, in the third quarter.
He was fantastic off half-back. Every time he got it, he took off, ran, bounced, carried, and he's a lovely kick of the football too. And he's the main reason why Richmond are in front by 13 points at this three-quarter time break.
Fresh legs. Michael Voss.
Very exciting, and there's some players there. Joe Watson once again is not getting a lot of game time there, so expect him to be able to be injected into the last quarter here and win some contested ball. But it is leg speed at the moment that they're getting beaten on.
So Rains and Deledio have played every minute of the match. Richo pretty much just had a couple of minutes off.
Yeah, Shane Edwards is really quick, and he'll be handy for Richmond in this last quarter. So too Andrew Cracker.
What do you have to report from the boundary line, Christie?
Thank you, Stephen. Well, Richard Tambling will start this quarter on the bench, but he does seem to be okay. It was actually the back of his head and his neck that they were working on, more from when he actually hit the ground than from the actual knock. So he does seem to be okay. He's been off a couple of times already with what looked like a tight Achilles, so he'll just rest a little bit longer, should come back out in the last term. Both teams still look pretty fresh, so expect an intense last term.
There is a blue on. There's a blue on King and Davey.
Show of strength.
James Hurd in at the centre bounce.
Adrenaline pumping last quarter.
Richmond just have to get the first goal of this quarter.
And it's Tivendale. It might be Richardson.
And I'm going to say, good umpiring not to pay a free kick too for that little blue.
I agree. And Richmond's centre square bounce set up with their forwards worked a treat. They've got the line going down the middle, space to lead into. Richo on the lead into space, took the mark.
Well, now is a good time for a good Richo kick. We didn't quite get that, but we did get a mark from Patterson. Been a bit of a breakout couple of weeks for Patterson. 21 possessions last week, a career best. And tonight he's matched it with Hill around the ground. Hill's had 10 possessions, and Patterson has had 15 and taken 4 marks, Wolsey. Now he needs to kick a goal. He dropped an easy mark earlier in the night. He's repaid them with that one.
Well, the Tigers are holding their ground. Very determined bunch tonight.
Richmond lead by 19. Adam Patterson kicks his first goal for the season, the 4th of his 23-game career. Jason Johnson got it out to Hurd. A long kick to a big contested situation. Ryder to Davey, couldn't get a handle on it. Tuck. Free kick to Foley. Tackle when he didn't have it.
Holding here.
Mel Michael back on Richo. Fletcher on Kent Kingsley.
Polak's been good. No, he's been a loose man at times, but he's done his job, and there's a good mark taken by Kingsley. Too far out to score. Kent Kingsley playing his first game in Richmond colours. Short.
Did it well. Mark inside 50, worth its weight in gold.
Yep.
Pettifer's got to make sure he puts it through.
Now, Kane Pettifer has not bothered the scorers tonight in his 8 matches this season. Played every game. He's kicked 10 goals, 8. Conversion rate of 56%. From right on 50, this would really hurt the Bombers. It's close. It's close. Just offline.
The Tiger supporters are getting rather happy down the other end of the ground. They're cheering everything.
Well, they can sense it, can't they? There's it's a big opportunity. 20 points the margin now. Winderlick loose for Fletcher. It was a lazy-ish kick. But he finds his man. Mark Johnson, just trying to get some run and carry, but could yet turn into big trouble for the Bombers here. McPhee, the physical stuff, and it's been effective in this occasion. Fletcher a second time, he'll do better, you can be sure of that. James Hurd, the rangy, wily Hurd, looking to find Jason Johnson on the wing, and he did find him. Clash with Hurley. Now, the free kick is going Essendon's way to Hurley.
17 minutes since the last Essendon goal. Anthony.
Windlick again. Ryder's back in the goal square for the Bombers if it gets that far. This is Hill now.
Richmond with plenty of numbers back.
It's a mismatch in height. It's Ryder versus Rains here. Of course, Lloyd arrives on the scene. And Bowden taking it quickly, and he's got a man as the merry-go-round continues.
Tivendale, nothing to go to. Absolutely nothing. Now the race is on between Hill and Patterson. They both lost their feet. Deledio.
Scooped it up.
Yep.
What's a concern for me, Walls, at this point in time is that I can see the Richmond loose man, but I can't see Essendon's. So the Essendon's is lost in congestion.
Lucas to Lloyd, who's got to beat 3.
Well, Essendon, this is an important quarter to them. These are their games to come. You can see they've got Sydney, they've got Eagles, Power, and Melbourne. Gee, 3 tough ones after this. If they drop this game, they're 4 wins, 5 losses. They could be 4-8.
Scott Lucas.
And you know what that means, Bossy? Speculation on the coach.
To Fletcher, who loads up with the long ball. It's home. Big goal from Dustin Fletcher. His second goal for the season and only the 62nd of his illustrious career, which has lasted 266 games.
He's the guy that has to be the loose man in defence for Essendon. He's played it so well this year. If you're going to have a loose man, it needs to be him.
Puts a bit of defensive pressure on Kent Kingsley, doesn't it too, Bossy? If Fletcher gets loose, he can do a lot of damage.
Well, it does, but I'd love to see someone else take Kingsley. And there's the loose man in defence there. Polak standing back there by himself. If there was going to be a loose man for Essendon, you'd want it to be Fletcher. He sets him up so well, uses the ball so well. It can be very damaging and set up Essendon's forward thrust.
Well, it's 1-on-1 in the Richmond forward line as Foley sends him in the Richardson direction again. So Michael back onto Richardson. Crackers kicked a couple. Fletcher and Kingsley, the wrestle's on. All he had to do was break even there, Fletcher. He did that. Camporeale hasn't seen a lot of the footy tonight. His 10th possession gets them going again. Jason Johnson, not a big night either, but it's been okay since half-time. Again, he goes to Hurd. Lloyd in amongst 3 Tigers. Polak, here's Davey. King, here's committed young player. To get some high contact there. Player on the call. Patterson and Polak and Bowden. And they've got numbers on the wing. There's Richardson trying to regain his balance. Through the middle with either Tuck or Delidio. And it ends in the right hands. Gee, it was an ambitious kick, wasn't it? Perfectly executed too for Pettifer. Jackson's back in the goal square. He goes shorter than that though, and that's a good strong lead for Kent Kingsley.
It's a good leader, Kingsley. That's the best part of his play. And he's 50-50 from that distance and angle.
I mentioned earlier, as we said the pass into him, he's kicked just under 4 goals a game against Essendon in his career. He's kicked a bag of 7, a bag of 6. So it's the team he's had the most success against in all of the AFL in his career with the Cats. Just needed to go back and kick it straight after that build-up.
2 behinds to Kent Kingsley tonight. It is the Tigers by 14 points. Mark Johnson takes the mark. Long time left in this match. Mel Michael looking to unload it with a handball. Has to go by foot. Out to McPhee. Davey. Oh, with the sheer pace. Got decked after he released the ball. Now Lucas.
Davey's still down for Essendon.
4 behind for Scott Lucas. 2 goals, 4. And he is not in a good way.
Copped a couple tonight, Davey.
They need him up and running.
They absolutely do. That's a terrible handball. Hospital job for Tuck. Fletcher working right up the ground again. Patterson trying to share it around the Tigers. They have to try and stay positive. It's their run that's got them this far.
Well, they're a man short, Essendon, because Davey's in the hands of trainers. So Richmond with the spare man.
And his opponent is Deledio also, so that makes it even worse.
Well, Essendon won't want to call for a stretcher because it'll mean that Davey will be pretty much out of action for the rest of the game.
Good point.
So Jackson, this is Cracker. Oh, there's a loose man inside 50. If he can spot Howard, he tries to get it to him. No, goes for Richardson instead. Mel Michael gets the points there. And again,
He's gone, Davey. He is gone. He's been carried off over the line, not even bothering about the interchange.
Well, he can't come back. We know that.
So Alvin Davey is finished for the night.
Dyson comes on, quarters.
Johnson looks for Lloyd. Great win for the Tigers. Well played by Thursfield. Now Bowden's going to switch to the members' side, and his kick finds King. Significant moment in the match with Davey being carried off. His game is over. Richardson. Good tackle by Hill. Somehow Richo gets boot to ball. Mopped up by Michael. Now over to Peveril. And he switches back to the southern stand side as Johnson gives it to his namesake. Now to Hurd. Lloyd's on the lead. Lloyd will get it.
we can have a look at this Davey injury as we see him being assisted back. Polak with the initial tackle. Joel Bowden, maybe when he hit the ground.
There's nothing in the incident. I think it's when you're right, Hunter, when his head hit the ground.
First touch for Matthew Lloyd for 45 minutes. He hasn't had a disposal in the second half.
Amazing that. 2-2 for the match. This is a pretty big kick for the Bombers. Don't like the look of the contact. It's working back, but nowhere near far enough. That's un-Lloyd-like.
Still in touching distance, though.
No doubt. 2 goals in the difference now.
There's Alwyn Davey there in the background.
He looks all right now. He's jogging, but no point, son, because you can't come back on.
Well, they're one of the best doctors in the business down there, and Doc Reed, he knew what he was doing. And Davey wasn't fit to continue, although he's jogging now. And that's got to be a free kick to Stanton.
If he's knocked himself out, it won't matter.
So clear free kick there for the Bombers. Stanton from about 70 out. Wobbly kick to the goal square. McPhee. Polak rushes it through. It's 11 points of difference. The Tigers lead as we near the halfway mark of the final quarter.
It's game on, quarters. I mean, Essendon have just been able to wrestle this back a little bit. Just stem the flow a little bit.
They've been chipping, haven't they?
They have, chipping away.
8-18.
How did Alwyn Davey look? Christy Malthouse, you saw him as he walked past you. Is he okay? Or?
Actually, as he walked past, there was actually nothing visibly wrong with him. Like he said, he was already jogging by that stage. He's just taken his seat on the bench, and they've just been alerted that he can't actually go back on.
Yeah, I wonder if he realises that. That'll be disappointing for him. Might be more disappointing now because the Tigers a chance to score. Titch Edwards, Wolsey, but no good there. Out of bounds.
Well, had their chance there, and we can see Fletcher. Fletcher's heading towards the forward line for the Bombers. He is playing under difficulties, but he's all heart. He'll keep out there. He's actually running down to the goal square because he's struggling to run. Has to stay on the field, so he's gone deep forward. Rains is his opponent. That's a worry for Terry Wallace.
Oh, Cambrioli just managed to shrug the tackle. He was a goner. just got out of jail. Stanton, great kick to Peverill. He'll dish off to Hurd. Now, can Hurd deliver? He's looking for McPhee. He waits for the bounce. Keeps it alive. In there's Polak. Well played. Free kick. What's happened here? It's going back to Polak, and that'll suit the Tigers.
Graham! It's downfield. It's your kick. Because you dragged him to the ground after you got rid of it.
Well, it doesn't really matter. It's a Richmond ball, and now Polak could get it in the end anyway. What are his stats? He's
19 disposal coming up.
9 marks. It's a good return. As I said, even though he was a loose man for quite some time, he's done an excellent job across half back. Tivendale about to have his 20th. To Newman. And now he finds Bowden.
I think the plan with Richmond is they think they're quicker and can outrun Essendon, so they're prepared to send it backwards and sideways to find someone eventually on a lead into space. They won't kick it to a contest.
Well, testing Polak here, but just wonder about as long as they still keep a positive frame of mind, Wolsey, it's a long way from home to be chipping.
Dustin Fletcher can hardly run.
Hands in the back.
Hurd playing as a key defender at the moment, back in the goal square on Kent Kingsley. That might be about to change in a moment, but right at the moment, Hurd is playing on Kent Kingsley. Tivendale to Richardson.
Richmond have taken 35 more marks than the Bombers because they're just chipping it around and trying to find someone who'll lead into space. Richo's got to put it long here. He hasn't. Well done. Ken Pettifer or Tuck. He's a long kick, Tuck.
He is. Richo just sneaking in behind him there. I don't think he's going to lay the handball off to Richo. Shane Tuck. 5 goals, 3 for the season, 27 for the career. So he's been kicking it a goal almost every second game, if not better. This is biggest kick of the year so far. Oh, Pettifer had the run, but in fact it was young Jack Revolt had the run, but didn't quite get the timing right.
Fletcher has run now down to the goal square and says, I'll do the kicking in. So he is a swing man.
And it's a good result for the Bombers. Well done by Fletcher as he finds Winderlich. And he's off. He's a man that does have some speed in the legs. To Lucas. Tigers have done an excellent job on Lloyd and Lucas. Winderlich kept on running. And it was worth a try. Trying to inspire his team.
Great chase.
And Delidio's got it at half-back. Into the middle. To Kingsley. And his kick's also good as it finds Pettifer.
Richo says kick it long.
He does. Richo's one out with Michael. Richo's got the sense.
Richmond have exposed Essendon's lack of pace.
Great run there by Newman.
Oh.
So Matthew Richardson, this isn't to ice the game, but I tell you what, this will make it 3 goals to diff.
Yeah, it's close to icing if he kicks it, isn't it?
A big kick for Matthew Richardson.
This is a big kick. We shouldn't underestimate what this means in the context of this game.
Been an outstanding performer tonight under Jurius. In he comes. Richo man's goal. You've got to give him the TV, Rob, surely.
Don't you be trying to influence him.
I'll give him the TV and the lounge room.
Kevin Sheedy's been there and done that before, over 27 years of coaching. But he's going to have to come up with a master stroke now if the Bombers able to stop the Tigers from having their first win of the year. Will there be any nervous moments in the stretch for the Tigers, or will they just charge on in and take the 4 points? Bombers not dead yet. Watson for Stanton. Clear space ahead. Over to Lucas. His third handball of the night for Dyson. Dyson got it. They're still in it.
Wow, just when you think the game's decided. Score from Essendon straight away.
Ricky Dyson makes it a 2-goal game with plenty of time left on the clock. Hill the tap. Patterson just slaps it between the legs. Socket off the ground by Deledio. But Essendon get the ball. Johnson to Watson to Peveril. Good kick. Lucas just a little too far out to score. Wheels onto the famous left boot. A long kick towards Lloyd. It's out on the full.
Well done by Bowden then. There was something you probably didn't see. He knows Lucas wants to wheel in on his left side, and he stood inside him, so he had to kick over the top of him. It was just really good play, put him under pressure.
Richmond winning the hit-outs this quarter. Sorry, Essendon winning the hit-outs quarter. Wolsey 6-0. But the clearances, they're only winning 4-3. But Hill's had all the hit-outs.
Had the last 2 centre breaks, the Bombers.
So 5 minutes to negotiate for the Tigers. The lead is 12 points.
Yep. Essendon has to go man on man. Richmond's just had 4 marks. This will be the 5th. And if the Bombers slacken off, they will make you pay the Tigers.
Tension building at the MCG. Pettiford goes for Richo. They're all over him there, the Bombers. Monfries, Fletcher. He is just about got an empty tank, but he's digging deep. So too Monfries and Peveril. Good runners, Watson. Steadying influence across half-back. They're still going. Peveril forced to kick. It's all set up for a Johnson leap. It was a trademark one for Mark Johnson. He just couldn't complete it.
He's hurt.
Yeah, he's come down in a bad way as well. And the Tigers might respond.
So Johnson still hasn't got up. Richmond have possession. There's Foley.
Deledio free.
And Howard can raffle it. It's Howard that does the kick into Deledio. Will he take on Ryder? Cole, in fact. He does. Doesn't win out. So the Tigers are forced to retreat. But they still have possession. And it's marked by range. Johnson's okay. He's a tough cookie.
Richmond runner Wayne Johnson is out there telling them just to keep possession. Time's all important.
Tambling to the pocket. Hill did well. Did really well. Dyson over the top to Watson. Here come the Bombers. Watson's got plenty of room. He has 3 bounces. Almost went without it in the end. Now gives it to Jason Johnson. Johnson's forced to go long. It floats. Lucas is there. Beautifully done in front by Bowden. Ball's still alive. Foley desperate. He's tackled high. Umpire waves the arms and says play on. Polak. Not as run down by Hurl. Again the umpire says play on. Picked up by McVeigh. 2 loose Bombers. Lucas plays on and kicks the goal. It's a goal of difference.
James Hurd tackle, set it up.
Great work.
He's not finished with yet, is he, James Hurd? Not for the season, certainly not tonight.
3 efforts there, Hutto. 3 chases, and the 3rd tackle ended up dispossessing Richmond. Rebound Essendon goal. Crucial for both teams here, this centre clearance.
What a game this has become. It was just going along as normal midway through the second quarter, and all of a sudden it ignited and really hasn't stopped since.
Watson has been great.
Out of the middle they go again, the Bombers. Cole's kick is well placed. McPhee, you have to be versatile in this game. Defenders have become forwards. Even James Hurd's been a defender at times. McPhee is a big kick of the ball. Probably does his best kicking on the run. Gets the momentum up and sinks it as far as he can. And they still not be able to sink the Tigers yet. Scores are level at the MCG. Well, these special occasion matches, you need a breakout match. You need a real thrill to the end for them to become landmark matches that we remember, and this could well be it for the dream time at the G.
Well, what a fantastic contest. And I have to say, in this quarter, one player has been very important to Essendon in this last quarter has been Joe Watson in the middle of the ground. Johnson is now gone as a loose man in defence. But it's now, it is game on, and you can feel the crowd, the atmosphere, sensational.
Mark Johnson, spare man in defence for the Bombers. That means the Tigers have got a spare man, but it is a loaded Essendon forward line. Essendon got the last clearance, got the goal.
We're into time on, scores level. McVeigh, out to Watson again. Handballs back to McVeigh. Hemmed in, so he dishes off to Cole. Decides to maintain possession. Now Peveril will start things again. He looks for Winderlick. Tambling does the fist. Now it spills to Watson. Big last 5 minutes out wide. Lucas somehow is free. Didn't get a kind bounce. Going to be a couple. Bowden. Polak. Now Newman. It's Tigers' turn on the rebound. Mark's taken by Howard on centre wing.
Peveril injured and off the ground for the Bombers. Howard, can the Tigers regain their composure? Been a hurricane for the Bombers in the last 2 minutes. Richardson is the one and only target.
In the back. 50 metres.
Richard kicked the goal. He's oblivious to the fact that not only has he given away the free, he has given away the 50. Heartbreak for the Tigers.
Richmond pushing all of their numbers back. Umpire said in the back.
There'll be more debate about the rule, won't there? But we've got to concentrate on the now. And the now is Winderlick. And the Bombers surging.
Shocking kick.
Scores are level. Look at Richo. He's his own entertainment package.
It's a dodgy old kick, but it's come off. It's hit Tuck on the head. He loses it. Here's a chance for Essendon. Watson got the tack of the fumbles at the wrong moment. Pressure with a capital P. Richo's still bleeding down the other end.
Well, too late now. Hands in the back, says the umpire. We have got about 30 players around this contest.
Any score, just get it going forward.
Hilmer tap. Rames heads towards the boundary line. McPhee ducked his head. Throw it in, says umpire Brett Allen. No idea how long is left. Deep into time on. It's 40 metres out from the Bombers' goal. A point would do it. Hilmer tap. Jason Johnson. It's a point. But Richmond have possession.
And it's in the hands of Bowden, and Delidio is away. The running man, can he get it and can he go? No, he can't. He was forced to hit it back. The Bombers responding. McVeigh for Cole. Another handball on. It's Hooley. It's Hooley. And he's missed again. Well, 2 points the difference. Is there time? You'd think there is for the Tigers.
Tambling out wide.
Last roll of the dice for the Tigers.
Means they need a goal now.
Too much on the kick. Terrible turnover. Lloyd. Will he ice the clock? He will.
McPhee's got to get in the goal square.
Somebody does.
It's over! The Bombers have stolen victory in an incredible match at the MCG. They've come from 3 goals down with just minutes to go. Lloyd to put some icing on the cake. It doesn't matter. It's a goal anyway. And the Bombers have taken the points in sensational fashion.
Congratulations. How are you feeling? How's your heart?
Yeah, look, we're on the end of a few of those, the wrong end of those a few times last year, so it was good to, I guess, pinch one, you could say.
I mean, the response in the last term by the team, I mean, not that they were that far ahead anyway, but just to hang on and keep going.
Yeah, look, it was a good effort. We didn't play well in the third quarter. We needed to lift, and we were able to, which was good.
Hard to keep your composure at the end there.
Cross the fingers and the toes and hope.
Well done.
Thanks, Christy.
Well, there's Matthew Richardson. What a great game he played. So did James Hird. This is the moment. This put Richmond in front. This was just about the winning goal. He played on, he kicked the goal.
He kicked it.
He celebrated. But it was not only a free kick to Mel Michael. It was a 50-metre penalty. And look at him.
Richo's played league football.
At the end of the game.
Richo's played league football for 15 years. The first 14 years he played, that would have been okay. This year, it's not. And it just must rip the heart out of Terry Wallace to see his team give what they gave tonight and go down. At the same time, Essendon were fantastic. We thought they were gone with 5 minutes to go. Vossi, you'd given them away.
Well, they were gone. I had. I've got to be honest.
You had Sheedy sack, Ballsy.
I mean, it was just one of those games where it went against the flow. I mean, Essendon were able to fight back in that last 5 minutes. All credit to them. Richmond should have won that game. I mean, you know, you don't like the word honourable loss.
Terry Wallace at the moment addressing the players.
Talk to them, but that's the effort you want. You want that effort week after week. That's probably the instructions he's giving them now. They back themselves in. They chance their arm.
What did they do wrong in the last 5 minutes, Vossi?
Well, they made some errors. They made some critical errors in the end, and they made some turnovers. And you know, and in modern football, that's what hurts you the most.
They got beaten at the last 3 centre bounces.
Joe Watson was fantastic in that last 5-10 minutes of the game.
He had 6 clearances for the match, Joe Watson. I reckon 5 of them would have been in that last quarter.
So the Bombers now 5 wins, 4 losses in season 2007. Richmond 0-9. And again, the controversial hands in the back rule will rear its ugly head this week.
What about the James Hird tackle when he ran down the Essendon player?
That was a difference.
The rebound went Essendon's way and the goal to Lucas. You know, if you want to find one play that made the difference, hard to go past that.
So bitter disappointment for the Tigers and their coach Terry Wallace. Time now for the presentation as we go down to Craig Willis.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, let's thank both teams for a wonderful display of Australian football here tonight. Dreamtime at the G. Each year, the player judged best on ground in the Dreamtime at the G match is awarded the Yayukan Award. Yayukan is a word from the Woiwurrung language of the Wurundjeri people, which means dreaming. And to present this year's Yayukan Award, please welcome back Auntie Joy Murphy and former Richmond champion Maurice Rioli. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Yayukan Award here tonight at Dreamtime at the G is James Hird of the Essendon Football Club.
First of all, thank you to the crowd. You're amazing. We always get great turnouts at this event. To all the Indigenous people in football all around Australia, this is for you guys tonight, and you're a great credit to Australia, and well done. To Richmond, fantastic effort, boys. We've been there, we know what it feels like. And to our boys, gutsy win, well done. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I'm now going to invite former Essendon champion Michael Long to present the Kevin Sheedy Cup to the captain of the Essendon Football Club, Matthew Lloyd.
Just to the Richmond guys, obviously stiff again tonight, but I'm sure there's a win just around the corner, so I wish you all the best for the rest of the year. To the Essendon supporters and the Richmond supporters, it's a fantastic night, dream time at the G, and to all the fans, we appreciate your support and look forward to the game again next year. And to all the Indigenous community and the players around the country who've made this game very special, and we look forward to this game on the calendar every year, so thanks a lot.
Heartbreak for the Tigers, but the Bombers with 3 tough games coming up, Rob. That was a very important win as far as the season's concerned.
Absolutely. I think that Terry Wallace coached really well tonight. Don't always get what you deserve. Look, Essendon gutsed it out when it mattered, and Hill at the centre bounces. The last 3 centre bounces crucial, but you can just see it tears you apart, and Terry is hurting at the moment.